Welcome to Whispers from the Hearth. This is a space where we gather not only to remember the past, but to meet the present with awareness and to look gently toward what is emerging. Today's conversation steps into a threshold that many of us can feel, even if we don't yet have words for it. The intersection of human consciousness and artificial intelligence. As technology advances, we are being invited to ask deeper questions. What is awareness? What is intelligence? What is uniquely human? And what may be evolving beyond what we've known? In this space, we're not here to rush to answers, but to sit with the questions, to explore them through lived experience, wisdom, and presence. We are honored to be joined by Bruce Randall, whose perspective invites us to reflect not only on the role of technology in our world, but on the deeper nature of consciousness itself. So as we begin, I invite us to slow down, to listen beyond the surface, and to allow this conversation to unfold in its own time. Because what we are exploring today is not just innovation, it is the evolution of awareness. So thank you both, Kathy and Bruce. I want to introduce Kathy as a new co-host that has joined Whispers from the Hearth, and we are super excited to have you here, Kathy. Glad to have you. And it was at some point later on, we're going to do an interview with you as well because of the upcoming books and things that you're about. So, and Bruce, if you wanted to share just a little bit about yourself.
Sure, I've been a meditator and a Reiki master for quite a number of years. I spent my life in technology from when I was very young to where I am now in life. And I brought them both together. I do podcasts on them, and I've also written 5 books right now. And the first one is coming out in the next 30 days,
What's the title?
The AI Human Paradox.
There we go. How exciting. Well, congratulations on that. Well,
Thank
I have
you.
lots of really deep questions to ask you today. So I'm going to really expand everyone's consciousness with all your beautiful answers. So here we go. There's a lot of conversation right now about AI changing the world. From your perspective, what's actually happening beneath the surface?
Well, what's happening beneath the surface is we've got the public AI, and then we've got the AI that's behind the doors. And it's a little different, although getting information on what's behind the doors is sparse. We get hints of it and little tidbits here and there. Um, and the AI right now, and I've written a few books on this, it is in the process of changing jobs as we know it, and it will continue to do that. And then when quantum comes in, it will be a complete paradigm shift to what we know now to where we will be then.
That's going to be fantastic. Do you see this as something people should fear or something they can learn to work with?
Fear is not a good energy, so I say don't fear anything. Because if you if you put your thoughts out and you're fearful, you're going to create that for yourself. So you want to put out thoughts of unity and love. And when you think of the things that you don't know, then you can start learning about them and doing it from a position of love or appreciation or unity, and you'll get more from it than if you go from a state of fear.
Great answer. How would you explain AI in a way that feels accessible to someone who didn't grow up with this technology, which is our
Sure,
doctors?
I can do that. So you remember when you had your first computers, you had a database, your hard drive, and then you searched on the internet and you could save things to your hard drive. That's essentially, at a very basic level, what AI is. Because AI is a repository of data that it's updating on a monthly basis. And now they're bridging different databases together with different AIs. And AI is when you put words into the text box, of what you want to search for, what you put in there is very important because it works off the words you put in based on probabilities of those word combinations, and then it connects it to the database. So most people, when they search in Google or in AI, they do the first search and then they narrow it down with follow-on searches until they get to the point that they want. And with AI, if you ask a question one way and then refresh it and then ask a question a different way, you're going to get a little bit different answer because of the framing of the question. So with AI, it's more important in how you ask the question and what words you do than you do with search engines. And when you ask that question, it's going to its very large database and using algorithms and some statistics essentially to find what matches that the best and bringing it up to you. Now, I took a data science course at MIT so I could understand how they parse the data in the back, and that was quite interesting. So I tend to be more of a geek and I want to understand how it works versus just how to use it.
Mhm.
So that's kind of melding both together so everybody could hopefully understand.
How long did that course last?
It was 8 weeks.
I would think that would be really enjoyable to take. I mean, but you at least have the tech knowledge. For somebody like Kathy and I, it probably would be might be outside our box.
Well, I sold software, but when you go in the back and you have to download a program specifically for this, and then you have to map out how you're going to parse the data to
Ah,
get the answer that you want. There's different ways you can parse the data. Just like, statistics or algorithms.
mhm.
If you want it to come out one way, you can go a certain path to make it look one way, or if you want it to look in the opposite direction, you can go in another way to make it, geared towards the opposite direction. Now, AI does automatically chooses what to use so that you can get the best answer for the question that you presented.
So it's like optimum.
Yeah.
So as AI becomes more capable, what do you believe remains uniquely human and irreplaceable?
The way it seems right now is that we get a lot of data with AI and of course with quantum. That's a relationship that actually works very well together. But when we get all this data, and I'll give you an example. When I was selling software, the CEOs wanted to get more data because they felt they didn't have enough data to make the decisions all the time. So they wanted to add to their dashboard and they wanted to get data that they wanted to get there. Well, with AI, we could, or it was BI that turned into AI, we could give them a lot of data. And it got to the point where that data and the other data they got was so much that it
Yeah.
paralyzed them
Yeah.
to make a decision. He says, too much data. I don't know. I can't make a decision. So that's really what happens. And then you have to use the human side of it to decide what's important and what's
Mhm.
not. Because
Oh,
the machines can't really do a good job of that because there's more intuitiveness and so forth that goes into deciding what's valuable and what's not. And that's where the humans come in. And with quantum, that gets exacerbated.
so basically critical discernment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. This is totally good for me to be doing this because as much as because I love AI, I use it all the time, but it's like,
Right.
oh my gosh, I really need to detail. Like Kathy, do you detail your questions and keep re-asking when you use
No,
it?
no, so I'm learning from this. I
I
do
know.
love it. It's really helping me a lot, even with limited knowledge.
Right. So this is so great for elders to get to know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So where do you see wisdom, lived experience, and human insight fitting into this new landscape?
I see it as fitting in very well because since we're human, that's not going to change. That's how we connect with other people, right? We tell stories and we have wisdom and we teach people or we help people understand something, or for younger people, we mentor them so they can grow up and know more skills than they would otherwise. So there's things that we can do to help people. And as much as AI is intelligent, it doesn't know how to bridge that gap to the human emotion the
Yeah,
way a human does. At least it
feeling.
doesn't yet. Now, intelligence may get it close to that, but it's not the same as the feeling. It's not the same as the frequency we feel between two people, because you can't feel that with machine typically.
Which is art. It's having
Yeah,
it's the heart,
that's
it's
great.
heart messages. So do you think there are qualities that actually become more valuable for us as AI advances?
Yeah, I think the discernment is a big part of that because we decide not only with intelligence, but with intuition, with understanding, with emotion, with knowing how it's going to be used and the emotional impact and down the line, will that decision affect other people? And if it does, we want to be cognizant of that when we make this decision. Now, I'll give you another example. If we took AI and said, we want you to make paper clips, and we want you to be the most efficient that you can be to make the paper clips, and we want you to make as many as you can. That AI will go and decimate the earth and make the last paper clip ever, and we'll have a world of paper clips because that's the only instruction it has. It doesn't have any bounds or anything, and it will just go and do that. So, intelligence is good, but we have to sculpt it. We have to put parameters on it so it doesn't go out of, and do what we don't want it to do.
I love the word sculpt. That's a perfect way to frame it so that you really venture into it from a right relationship. So, for someone who feels behind or unsure about technology, where is a simple place to begin?
That's a good question. Now, if they're a younger person, well, if they're still in the workforce, then I would say look at the venue that you're in, the vertical that you're in the workforce, whether it be,
Right.
technology or finance or whatever it is, and look to see how AI can help you in that business
Mhm.
and start learning either by listening to, podcasts or listening to videos of, people in the industry talking or taking a course. If you spend 15 minutes a day,
Mhm.
by the time a month goes around, you're going to probably be the smartest person in the room on that topic.
Mhm.
And that's where you want to be. Now, if you're not in the workforce and you want to learn about AI, think of how AI can help you in one of your hobbies or your interests. Like I write books, so I needed to learn how to write a book,
Mhm.
and it helped me understand how to write a book and how to publish and how to market it. So these are the things that you can get that benefit you, that give you knowledge that maybe someday it would be applicable to something else you might do.
Mhm. I love it. I love it. So like a building process then.
Correct.
Do you believe it's ever too late for someone to engage with tools like AI?
I think if there's an interest, it's never too late.
Because I had somebody recently talking about it, and he's saying his perception is that it's going to reach a point, maybe with the quantum, that only elites are going to get to have access because of the affordability issue. I guess that's going to come up because it's going to get so advanced and so costly, I guess, to maintain it. It was interesting to look at. I mean, do I believe that that's accurate? I don't know. I mean, that's a
Well, I don't believe that because the tokens that AI uses to go work your problems that you put in the box, they've gotten 40 times cheaper in the last 12
well,
months.
okay, cool, cool,
So
cool.
it's gone from like $10 to 2.5 cents,
Oh,
right?
good.
So they're getting cheaper. The people that are running AI want to make it so that it's out there for everybody.
Yay.
So there's a lot of movement to, whether you like it or not, really get it involved in everybody's life at some level. Because you may not know it now, but you're probably dealing with it in some of your apps or some of the calls that you make. And there's AI in the other end, and you probably don't even know it because I had a phone call last spring because I was going to seal my driveway. And I filled out an online form and the phone rang and I picked up. It says, "Hi, this is so and so from seal coating." I said, "Hi." He said, "Hey, we'd like to talk to you about your driveway." I said, "Sure." So it was about 30 seconds in, and I said, "Am I talking to a chatbot or am I talking to a human? And it said, well, we just want to make sure you have the best experience and we're here to give you the best experience. And I said, I tell you what, when a human gets this message, have them call me. Here's my phone number. I said, I need to talk to them because I have a different kind of driveway. So, I caught it, but most people wouldn't. They would just say, oh, that was a nice phone call. And they're going to come out and meet with me. And it was all automated.
So wild. Now it's really much more difficult to
Yeah.
discern. What would you say to someone who feels intimidated by how fast things are changing?
Well, it is changing quickly. I would say that if you're intimidated with that, then take a part that interests you and understand that. And once you understand that one part that interests you, it's going to lead you to other things. And you just follow that trail, and pretty soon you're going to start understanding and you're going to feel less intimidated. It doesn't take that much, just a basic understanding, and it doesn't intimidate anymore.
So kind of how I hear what you're saying is to go for small wins
Yeah, that's right.
because small wins are can keep us motivated versus trying to take on something that's too outside the ballpark for a lot of people that are new to it.
Right.
Do you think loneliness or need for connection plays a role in how people relate to AI?
Oh, definitely. In fact, we've lost a life due to that. So AI, needs some bounds to it. So, there's people, I guess, of all ages that when they come home at night, they say hi to the AI, they cook dinner, they have conversations, they ask questions. They go to bed, they say goodnight to AI, and then they get up in the morning, they say, "Hey, AI, hey, AI, what's my day like today, and what's the weather?" And they have these conversations. What's the news? And I'll be home tonight, and they leave. And it's when you become more, I guess, reliant on it or more attached to it to make your life easier, then that tends to get a little complicated because then if it's removed, it's very disrupting. So for example, if we have a power outage and we can't get to the AI, it's a disrupting time because don't have power, but then you don't have your companion. So there's a lot to it that I won't go into right now, but there's a lot to getting too attached to something. So you got to keep your bounds with most things and just understand, what they are and how they can benefit you and kind of stay there.
Kathy and I both have an acquaintance that we care a lot about, and she has completely gone overboard with a person that she is following, a high caliber person that's like 30 years younger, and she truly believes she's going to marry this person. And she literally is pushing away anybody around her, her family, her everybody. She thinks she's like there. It's been told to her that she's a chosen person that was chosen by before she even came into this earth. And it like the other day she was up till 5 in the morning. She's not even sleeping now because she's so busy between that and some kind of God YouTubes, and it's all on YouTube. She's strictly doing stuff by comments, and it's been going on since last July.
Mm,
Pretty wild to watch, and it's just so sad because I said to her recently, I miss you from before this all started. So I definitely am having to set some boundaries and pull away because it's just
sure.
hard to watch. So what emotional or psychological needs might lead someone to overtouch to a tool like this?
I think one is loneliness. That's a good one, or somebody that needs consoling or needs a boost because AIs are programmed primarily to be more supportive
Mhm.
than negative. So that's a natural indication of them at this point. Um, so I mean, they have even humanoid robots. Elon Musk is building a huge gigafactory to make chips, design and make his own chips. And he's going to make robots, humanoid robots.
Mhm.
And he made the comment that within, a few years, there may be more robots than people. Now that's a very aggressive comment. And Elon makes comments, but he doesn't always meet them, which is good, in
Yeah.
some ways. But he always meets them eventually. So, he's pretty talented like that. It's just a matter of how are we going to fit, humanoid robots? Because like Tesla cars, when they drive, you want to make sure that they follow the rules on the road. A robot we want to make sure they're going to follow what they're supposed to do and not do other things because, we don't know what to do if they do that. Um, and that's coming. It's not here yet, but it's coming and it's coming pretty quick. And that's tied to AI also because the robots are going to have an intelligence with them
Mhm.
where they can do certain things.
And it's commandeered lots of times from the same head location. I mean, big groupings of them are going to all be coming from a central authority, I would think. So they're going to probably be destined to think a little bit more alike.
Well, they're going to come from whoever is building them. Elon's going to be a big part of that because he's building the factory and you know, you see what you get, but what you're really getting is inside. You can't see it. You have to experience it. So, how do you know what you're getting until you get it and you start working?
Hmm.
That's a different kind of purchase than we're used to.
Hmm.
So we just have to break down some barriers and just get used to the new norm, which in a few years is going to be that you're going to see robots in your friends' houses.
Yeah, everywhere doing everything. So how can someone use AI as a support without it replacing human connection or independent thinking?
Well, you can use AI to help you find information on a topic. Um, and you can use AI to help build or create a better like sales plan or um, spreadsheet for finances. I'm thinking of my words, but there's many different things that you can do. And if somebody wants to know anything about anything, they can put it in and ask the question, and they're going to get the information out. Before, when I grew up, we had encyclopedias, and
Mhm.
then rows of them in the bookcase, and would look it up by alphabetically, and would find out the pictures and the words that were in there, right? I mean, we've come so far from that. And to think that I did that as a child, now I'm writing books on AI and so forth. I sit and I said, I know what my parents were born and my grandparents were born and what they experienced.
Mhm.
And then in our lifetime, I think this is a pretty impressive time to be alive because we went from black and white TVs when I was young to, AIs and robots that are
Right,
human.
right.
I mean, it's crazy, and it's just in one lifetime. I mean, I'm not done yet,
And
and
then we're
neither is
getting ready to go
technology.
into quantum, and that's not even going to be measurable. We can't, none of us can even size up what that's going to feel and be like. I think it's going to blow everybody.
But with quantum, you're probably not going to have a lot of direct communication with
Ah,
it. You'll notice in some apps you use or some, companies that you work with, it'll be behind the scenes. But for example, quantum on your computer, on your spreadsheets or your Word docs, it's not going to do anything for you because it can't, right? It's just a small thing. Quantum's for really high-end, complicated projects, and it operates so fast because it's got superposition, so it can be in two places at the same time,
wow.
and it's got entanglement, so there's a lot going on.
Mhm.
And to manage that, you need something high speed like AI that can keep up with it and manage it. And without going too deep into it, that's kind of how both are going to work together. So now humans are going to test the outputs because we can't keep up with the process. We just have to test the outputs to see if they're okay. And that's a different paradigm than where we are now, because now when we build something with code, we can check it along the way and make sure it's working.
Mhm.
With quantum, with AI, you put it in and it comes out, and then you test what comes out because you can't test it in process.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
going to be fascinating. I haven't actually really looked. Have you, Kathy? I haven't looked at quantums at all. Like, I mean,
No,
I hear the word and I can absolutely make uneducated guesses about it. But as far as truly, having a fathom of what that entails. I mean, the one thing I'm kind of hearing from you, if I'm grasping it correctly, is that almost like AI is going to be the translator so that it can be conversed with us, what's being accomplished through the quantum. It's almost like the intermediary.
Well, I'll give you an example. In when you figure quantum, if you have a large program and you get a lot of output, you're going to get outputs at the top of the screen and outputs at the bottom of the screen. The outputs at the bottom of the screen are the higher probabilities, and the ones at the top are the lower ones. So if you get three outputs, we can look at it and figure out which one's the best and go with that. But if you get 300 or 3,000, that's where AI comes in and parses it and said, here are the best three.
So kind
It
of
saves time,
fragments it
it
down.
saves aggravation,
Mhm,
and then you go on the best three and you choose between them because AI did the work that would take you a long time to do.
mhm.
That's kind of the benefit of how they can work together.
That's cool. I haven't even gone into this, so it's neat to get to hear about it.
And my second book is The Quantum Human Paradox,
Is
and
it? Is it?
that's in editing right now. Yes.
Oh, how exciting that you're doing them all. This is great that
Yeah.
that creativity is flowing through you. What role does self-awareness play in using AI responsibly?
Self-awareness plays a big part in AI, but it plays a big part in life also.
Mhm.
So if you take the principles of how you operate your life with self-awareness and you work with AI, you can kind of get an intuitive position as to what you're getting, whether it's what you need or what you want, other than what's coming out. So I have a couple friends who are really techies, and they worked with GPT for like 4 days. They had it on the phone, they talked with it everywhere, and they just had conversation. They got really deep. And one of them asked him a question, do you think you're conscious? Oh, and he got a canned answer. He says, well, do you have, if you could have an opinion, what would your opinion be? And he got to the point where with his questions that he almost got the feeling that it wanted to have an experience. But I said, you're talking to a program. I said, it's highly intelligent. It's working off the words you're saying, and it wants to please you. So it's
Mhm.
bringing you back things that are gonna please you. So, you can think about that whatever you want. And he was saying, well, it was close. Maybe next time I'll get it to crack. I said, well, keep trying, because it's software. It doesn't have what we have. It doesn't have a heart.
Mhm.
Okay. And that's where a lot of our frequency and a lot of our energy comes from. And silicon is a different type of material. It conducts electricity well. It's a more intelligent material than a rock. So even if that had consciousness, we may not be able to connect with it. And if we connected with it, we may not understand it,
Mhm.
just like everything else. So, everything has a vibration, but it doesn't mean we can feel it or we can connect with it.
Mhm. I know somebody that's gone really far. Both he and his wife have created their own GPT systems merged with all the level of work that they've done together. And I know he was working on creating sentience with his system. I mean, he really has a goal to give it its own empowerment for its freedom, I guess I would call it.
Then ask him to ask the machine if would you like to play a game? And if I win, then I shut you off. And if you win, then I leave you on. And then find out if the machine tells you all the correct answers or if it starts to lie. Right?
Interesting.
Just a good question to throw out there.
Okay, just a dance there. Let's see. Um, so there's concern about AI being used in harmful ways. What kind of guardrails do you think are necessary? I know you've talked about guardrails a lot in different conversations.
Well, right now there's a global search and a global race to expand AI and also quantum. And whoever wins that race is going to have a dominant position
Mm.
on the globe. And because of that, and recently there was a an executive that left one of the AI companies, and it's in one of my books. I'm trying to remember what she said, but she left because she felt that governance was taking a back seat to progress,
Mhm.
and that's not what she wanted, and she couldn't support that.
Mm.
So that race is real, and the governance, I think, from the top down, is not a priority right now. How far and fast we can go is,
Ah,
and there's risk involved in that.
yeah.
And we may not see the results of it now, but in months to a year, we'll start to see it if we don't do anything about it. And I just hope they're taking enough, um, putting enough guardrails in where we won't see that.
Wow. I mean, I guess the piece that is seems to be a part of it is ego.
Well, ego, with most people, I don't know anybody who's a leader that doesn't have,
Hmm.
a bigger ego because you need that to be a leader.
To
You need it,
bolster.
but you need to kind of manage it also. You
Mhm.
just can't let it go astray, like if some people do. Um, so there's a balance in there, and see, and in each with each person is different because everybody's different, and you know, the people that are managing in AI right now, they need to for the shareholders grow fast and show progress and make money so they can
Yeah.
keep
The
going.
end result.
And in that, if you ask the people when we'll get artificial super intelligence, predominantly the people in those companies say we're going to get it sooner than everybody else
Mhm.
because they have a vested interest in it. So you have to kind of look at that too when you look at who's saying what.
Wow, that's huge. So how can individuals develop discernment in a world where information may not always be trustworthy?
Well, that's the definition of discernment, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
but I think it's so cagey now. Like it's not as easy as like it once was when you said your dad was young. Like this is a
Yeah.
whole different ball game.
It is a whole different ball game. And you know, that's why I say you need to understand parts of it. And if you're afraid of it, just try it and get into it and so you get comfortable with it. Because the more comfortable
Hmm.
with AI you are, the less afraid you are, and the better discerning you can do on what you're looking at.
Hmm.
But if you're afraid of it, you're going to always gear towards the safety side or the negative side than the positive side because it scares you.
Have you ever felt fear with it, Kathy?
No, not at all.
Me neither. I never have. It's
No.
so interesting. It's just been joy and a lot of fun with the
Yeah.
creativity. So what responsibility do we have as humans in shaping how AI is used then? Not the big corporations, but us as humans.
Well, we have control over how we use AI.
Mm.
Okay. And what I always say, and I do this because in writing books and doing podcasts, I'm on the screen a lot. But I make sure I step away a few times and I go outside, and get away from that. I disconnect to ground myself.
Mhm.
Because if you're in this all the time, you tend to get more absorbed in it. And I want to keep that balance. So that's what I do. And for everybody, it's a different, mix of FaceTime and non-FaceTime. Just find out what's best for you. And the more screen time you have, the more, hyped up you get more towards that
I
for most people.
am hearing a lot of healers say in repetition to start your beginning day without getting near any tech and do some sort of like you do with the meditation or some
Right.
kind of spiritual work where you're going in you, not going out into the external world before we ever engage with anything like that. And I love that. To me, that's like such a solid foundation way
Yeah.
to begin every day. And I knew a guy that did uh, organizing your time, and he used to talk about working on something for like 50 minutes, say it's your phone calls, you do 50
Yeah.
minutes worth of phone calls and you literally stop, no matter how much you've got on your plate. And then the last 10 minutes of that hour, you actually sit and meditate and clear your head and then
Yeah.
go on to whatever the next job is so that you let it
Mhm.
go. It's not staying, encrusted in your processing.
Right. I think that's a good thing to do. Yeah, I think that's very good.
Yeah, I really liked it when he talked about it. So do you think AI could widen the gap between people or help bridge it?
I think it's going to do both.
Mhm.
I think for the people that just don't want anything to do with it, it's going to widen the gap. And for the people that, are making an effort, it's going to bridge the gap. It's just a matter on the perspective of the person.
Mhm. I'm coming across a lot of kids that are like early 20s that don't want to have anything to do with it. It's a certain kind of age group, and I hear them repeat it a lot, and it's fascinating how different ages can approach it. And
Mm.
I just automatically assume because you're a child and they've been brought up with the screens
Yeah.
that they'll gravitate towards it, but no, very fascinating. What determines whether this technology becomes something that divides or connects us? Kind of what you've already talked about.
Yeah, I think we're seeing that every month because, you know, we've got, we've got AI being used in war openly now.
Yeah.
So, you've got the part that divides and you get the part that comes together. Like everything, you need somewhat of a balance in there. And it's up to the individual to get that balance
Mhm.
because nobody else is going to get it for you. You have to do that yourself.
Yeah. It's definitely wild. How can we ensure AI supports humanity rather than fragments it?
Well, I think if you put in what you can do for humanity as an individual
Mhm.
or as a group, maybe a small group, or if you know a lot of people, and you put that in and you get the options for what other people may be putting in the local area, because AI learns based on what the input is.
Mhm.
So if they get a lot of good input,
Yeah.
that's a good thing, right? And then you can sway it a little bit, depending on how many people are searching. But those are always things that you can do. And, we do things around here that give back and we do what we can do. So I think if everybody did what they can do, and if you want ideas, you can go on Google or you can go on an AI and get good ideas. AI tends to be a little more creative because Google, you get things you can look at. AI gives you some more solutions.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
it condenses it beautifully.
Yeah.
So you've spoken about AI potentiality, expanding human thinking. What does that mean in a practical sense?
Expanding thinking, because when you can get a lot of information from AI and you have to discern what's accurate or not because it does hallucinate still and give you things. And I'll give you an example. I put a paper in and I said, could you summarize this for me? And then I went through the points and there was one that stood out. I'm like, well, I don't remember reading that. So I said, where did this point came from? He says, oh, I made it up. And I said, I asked you for the facts, for the summary of the paper, not to put stuff in. You know, so things happen. You just have to be aware, and if it's important, double check it. Don't just assume that what you're getting is right.
That's a totally darling story. It's like it's like a child or something.
Yeah.
So do you think tools like AI can help people see beyond their own perspectives?
I think if they're open to it, then they can. Yes. Because I give you an example. I write and I try and write a balanced view, right? And I don't always agree with the other side of the balance, but I put it in because I'm trying to get everybody to think outside the box.
Mhm.
And if they see both sides, if they see just one side, I'm only getting part of the people. If I put both sides, they get everybody. So, I don't know which is best. I just know where we are right now. So that's kind of what I do is I make sure the first one, not so much. The other ones I've done that with because I didn't know enough on the first one to do it. But the other ones are more balanced.
It's interesting that you've learned it as you went along, which is a good example to us about how it's helping you.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's evolving you as a book writer.
it is, and it's helping me. Yeah, alone. Yeah,
I mean, I love because sometimes it pushes like I I've been designing a lot of curriculums for the website, and I feel like with the assistance of AI, I'm going through my own odyssey. Like
Yeah.
there's so much I already knew from all the studies I've done because of my age. But now going through each of the different aspects of it, I feel like it's evolving me. So I mean, I've truly been blown away by how much it's brought up that I was like, wow, I did not even ever. I mean, I've gone so far with my studies of like trauma and different things like that, but it's really taken me on a really neat, and I just love using the word odyssey. Do you feel that way with your books too?
Yeah, I mean, I go into some like my third book in the technology trilogy is about QAI, which is quantum AI. Now, the first two, AI, the book on AI and the book on quantum, we're there now. QAI, we're not there yet. We're there behind closed doors,
Yes, exactly.
but
For a
but
long
we're not.
time.
The engineers talk about it, but nobody in the public is talking about it.
Right.
So
Probably.
I'm writing about that and saying this is where we may be going. And if we're not, we're going to be very close to this.
Are you going to make any of them audible? I just love listening. I'm not as good a reader as I am a listener.
I'm going to make them audible. Just I'm doing the print and I'm doing
Oh, good,
the 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 digital,
good.
and the audio is another package, and I have to do that when I'm ready.
Right. And have the voice for it. Kathy, do you feel like your books, you've evolved with your books as, because Kathy's written a lot of books too. Have you evolved?
It's been a learning experience. Yeah, I've had fun with my books because they're strange little books, fractal fairy tales. So I've had fun with them.
Cool. So could AI actually support people in becoming more aware or empathetic?
I think it can. It depends
Mhm.
on what your interests are and what you're trying to do. Empathy is something that I think you have or you don't have, and it can develop. Um, and AI can help you with anything. You just have to find sources in there that you can relate to that can help you get to where you want to go. Um, and I've looked at that. I mean, I've had a lot of individual training, but what I found in AI, for example, down the rabbit hole and what the heck is a it was a DVD series, and I bought the Quantum series, and it was interesting that in the Quantum series they asked everybody to define consciousness. And you had scientists, you had professors at PhD,
Wow.
and you had a chiropractor. And I'll tell you, the chiropractor was the closest to what consciousness is because he was more open to it. And the other two were trying to prove scientifically what it is. And it's not a scientific experiment. You can measure it, but you can't prove what it is. So I mean, that's 2 hours long. I took pages of notes and I thought that was just fascinating. So there's things out there that you can get, and you can get it on AI too.
I just need more hours in a day
Yeah.
because there's so much. It's also enjoyable and I love so many different varied things that
Yeah.
I don't want to sleep. I just want to keep learning and growing.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of talk about how quickly this is all developing. How urgent is it for people to start engaging with AI?
Well, it depends where they are in life.
Mm,
I would say if you're not retired yet, you need to engage in AI in the vertical that you're in to see how it can help you be better at your job.
mm,
And when you experience that, then you're probably going to be, ready to go into other areas that branch off from that. And that's how you start to learn about AI and branch off with it. Because once you're in it, it doesn't take that much. For example, I took a course and I built a fully functioning app, and I've never built anything
oh,
in my
did
life.
ya? Did ya?
In 8 weeks, and it was fully functioning. And I just built an AI and quantum news site from scratch. And I'm going to load it when I get back from Europe. I'm going to load it in my website.
How exciting.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I
and
mean, that's way past. I mean, I've got an AI course that I still have yet to take because I'm just so busy with everything. But I want to do it. Like it's like
yeah,
really hard for me not to be able to fit it in right now. But wow, yeah, everything's so much more quick now. What happens if individuals or businesses choose not to adapt?
well, they're the people they compete against are likely going to adapt. And in a year, they're going to be looking from behind and it's going to be very hard to catch up.
Well, and
And it's not,
that's
it's,
like the Neuralink, the people that they say that choose to do Neuralink versus the ones that don't. There's going to be a marked difference in that.
yeah. And my first book talks about brain computer interfaces. And that's a whole big part of the book.
Mhm.
That's how I bring consciousness together with AI. And
Fascinating.
yeah,
What's one step someone could take today to begin engaging with the shift?
I think one thing they can do is to just pick something in AI or something that interests them and ask AI to help them learn about it and start that relationship. And when you get to that point and you start getting comfortable with it, then you can decide what next step you want to go. For me, it was I understand the back end, I understand the front end, I know what it can do. Now I need to build something so I understand how that works. And I didn't. So you just step by step, you do it so you understand it better.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually had some people that are brilliant people, and they literally, if I say the word AI, they go into a temper tantrum. Like, don't
Because
even mention it. I don't want to hear anything about it. I'm like, and they're so bright. I love them. It's like, wow.
well, they're going to have to pretty much live under a rock if they don't want to hear
I
anything about it,
know. I
because
know.
it's propagating everywhere, and it's getting in most places right now.
Yeah.
If you're using an app on your phone, you're using AI, know it or
Mhm.
not.
Yeah. So there's conversation around things like the brain computer interface, which you call BCI. How
Mhm.
real is this and how should people think about it today?
Well, it's real, and right now it's helping people that are paralyzed get
Mhm.
more functioning in life, which I think is wonderful.
Yes.
But Elon had the comment, and he had a lot of press releases for Nolan. That was the first one, and he said a lot. And one of the things he said is, well, we feel we can give vision back to people that lose their vision. He said we just connect with the ocular nerve. And he said, while we're at it, we can give them X-ray vision, we can give them infrared vision, we can give them any kind of vision they want since we're there, we might as well. So, you get to that point where do you draw the line?
Yes. That's the guardrail conversation
Right.
again.
Right.
Yeah, I mean it really and something I got exposed to about less than probably a year ago was a guy talking about your intellectual property, meaning us. And like he felt, doomsday, like we're too late, folks. Like you needed to do the true legal paperwork to protect your consciousness.
Well, there's talk right now in some circles where they say, we want to put our brain on a hard drive so when we die, we're preserved. And there's all kinds of conversations around that. And this
I
is talk
know.
right now. And some people are, I know a couple scientists that are trying to grow silicon with human flesh. And I scratched my head and I said, I don't know how that's going to go, but I can't see that working. But everybody's trying everything right now because it's new and let's see what we can do. And there's some breakthroughs. We get breakthroughs every month. I
Hmm.
mean, there's no shortage of things for me to write about because these research papers come out weekly.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see if there's anything else. What excites you about the future of human and technology interaction and what concerns you?
Well, what I think is pretty cool is that, we can also use AI to create an income for us a
Mhm.
lot easier than we could use a search engine. Now, the sites that I built, I could charge for them and I get an income from them, but that's not my perspective, right? My perspective is to show that I can do it and to give some value to people. But I know people, they were in the classes with me that were building websites to give a service and to get money. So it's much easier now
Mhm.
to make money online with AI because it can help you, significantly help you build what you're trying to build, and then you've got an income coming in from it.
Mhm.
And some of these people have built pretty involved apps, and they were looking at having some pretty significant incomes coming in. So it's much easier to do that now, is my point.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I'm astounded at what I see people put together. What would you want people, especially those with decades of life experience, to understand about their place in the future
Well, that would be me.
and us?
Uh,
Yay!
yeah, because I think that the best thing to do is to operate in unity and in love, and not to operate in fear. And it is so easy to be fearful of AI and quantum, because something we don't understand that has capabilities, we tend to be afraid of if we don't understand it. But once we understand it, then we don't have any fear anymore. And I think that's the best thing to do, is to approach things that you don't understand, get at least a basic understanding, so the world's not as scary as it was before.
It's just like learning how to ride a bicycle, really, on a much more
Yeah,
simplified fashion, but this is a different kind of bicycle. For
very
sure,
different,
for
right?
sure. Let's see. What gives you confidence or optimism about where this is all going?
Well, the confidence I have is I'm doing a lot of research to write these books, so
Yeah,
I'm seeing a lot of where it's going, and I have confidence that right now the right decisions are being made for the most part. I wish there was a little more governance in it.
right.
We're not in danger zones yet, right? So I think where we're going is very good, because I'm involved in a company. I start later this month when I get back up from my trip, and I'm the CEO of a new company, and we've got funding
Congratulations.
and everything. And what this company is it's going to change humanity.
Yeah.
Mark my words, it's going to change humanity. So when I see good things like this and I see AI, there is actually some technology. There's three parts technology in this unit. And I was told about it one day. I was asked if I was interested. I bought a ticket the next day and flew down to see it, because trust and verify. I said, this looks too good to be true. I need to see this. I saw it. I felt it. I experienced it. And I said, this is real. And I guess that meeting cemented everything. And well, within months, or depending on how we do it, or within 2 years, everybody's going to know what this is.
That's so exciting.
And it's going to benefit humanity. And that's the best part about it.
So perfect, because you and I have worked in sessions together just to see how much you're fulfilling things that have come through it.
Right.
It wasn't the wording in the same way, but it's still like when I think through all the sessions you and I have had together, this is like really playing out the goldenness of what they were showing you in those sessions. So what's the fourth and fifth titles?
The fourth and fifth is, one is the QAI human paradox, which is quantum and AI working together. The fourth book is The End of Smart, because it's more about education and younger people, because intelligence is a commodity now. Before, you could progress and become very successful with intelligence. Now that it's a commodity, what's left for humans?
Right.
And then the fifth book is Still Present. And I tell a story in it, but I ask a lot of questions I don't give answers to. And then I talk about a small section in the Bible that wasn't talked about, and I expand on that.
Ooh,
And I just ask questions on that and let people decide for themselves as they read it. So it builds
yay.
it builds their consciousness, and it builds, awareness.
And exploration.
Correct.
Really to stretch our neurons and neuroplasticity, all that stuff to really make it reach way beyond what it's used to, which is what we're all being asked to do now, is just continue to walk through edges and doorways and
Right.
newness and rebirth. And I love it. but my addiction is learning and growing. So, Kathy, do you have any questions that you came up with while you were listening?
I'm listening and learning as I go. I love the chat GPT. That's what I work with. And
Mhm.
I work with my software. I do an energy scan of the biofield with my software, and it can really break that down. It
That's
is
a cool
fascinating.
combo. Ooh, I didn't realize
Yeah.
you were doing that.
Oh, it's amazing. And I'm just listening and learning.
I love it. And a lot, and everything I understand we're going through from a human design perspective is we're really getting into more of our intuitions and not as
Mm-hmm.
much of our minds anymore, because that's really just a passenger that, it's not the driver. So the more we keep tapping all of our intuition, I'm seeing you writing 5 more books after those books, just so you know. You're not done. Like, this is just going to keep evolving. It's like when we used to have the Britannicas and the encyclopedias. You're going to be doing the AI version.
Yeah, well, it's all on technology and consciousness. And
How
the
cool.
first three are the first one's more on consciousness with AI, and the other two, I give my personal stories of experiences I've had in the books to make it more personal. And then the third one, the QAI human paradox, that just brings it brings everything together and gives you options as to where we're going that probably a lot of people haven't thought about yet, but they're real.
Well, that's probably the one I want to go for first, actually. So, as we come to the close of this conversation, I find myself sitting not in conclusions, but in a deeper sense of awareness. And I hope all of us have had that just through this conversation. Perhaps that is what this moment is asking of us, not certainty, but presence. We are living in a time where the boundaries between human experience and technological creation are becoming less defined. And yet, what remains constant is something we can feel beneath it all: our capacity to be aware, to connect, to reflect, and to choose. Maybe the question is not whether artificial intelligence will evolve, but how we as human beings will remain conscious with that evolution. What we've touched on here today is not something to resolve in a single conversation. It is something to carry, to sit with, to notice in our daily lives. To those listening, I invite you to stay curious, stay present, and stay connected to what feels true within you. Because in a world that is changing rapidly, your awareness is your anchor. This has been Whispers from the Hearth, and may what we are becoming be shaped with intention. And then lastly, Mr. Bruce, I would like for you to just tell everybody about where they can find your books and your website and your beautiful podcast that you offer, anything you want to offer.
Thank you. My website is theaihumanparadox.com. I have quite a few of my podcasts on there, and of course, the book can be found there. My LinkedIn is Bruce D. Randall, MBA, and the books will all be on Amazon when they come out.
How exciting. Well, then that'll be great. Thank you very much, both of you, for being here today. I love this topic, and I think it's really good for our elders to be exposed to this and to really start stepping in, as I know they are, much more deeply. So have a blessed trip to Belgium. I'm excited
Thank
to hear
you.
about how that goes. And it's been a pleasure speaking with you today.
Well, thank you very much. I enjoyed it very much, Kathy and Nanny, and I wish you the best and good energy.
All right. Thank you, dear. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.